Welcome back to In the Midst. So today we are going to cover part 4 of our Intimacy in Marriage series. This is the last part in this series at this point. I feel like we've covered a lot. So we're just going to wrap that up today with a few more points. So I'm just going to jump right into it. We were talking about complaints. Things that we face, things we struggle with, different complaints of why our intimacy in our marriage is lacking. So today we're going to talk about the second complaint. The second complaint is that one spouse just doesn't seem interested anymore. One spouse tries to make advances, tries to make hints, tries to start things up, and the other spouse is just like, I don't want to. They can just take it or leave it. They don't seem like they really need sex anymore. They're just not interested. There can be many reasons for this. We're going to talk about a couple of them. I am not a medical professional. I am not a counselor or anything like that. So this is not a comprehensive list. I am not diagnosing anything, but these are just common, broad things. And a lot of us have faced some of this at different points, and that's okay. Just acknowledge it and see if we can get to the root of the problem to improve our sexual desires. So some of these were mentioned in the last video. It could be medical issues, medications you take, or there can truly just be low libido. Most of these things can be managed and maybe even fixed completely. In the realm of medicine, unfortunately, it's almost all really, of your anti-anxiety and antidepressants cause low sex drive. They work different for everyone. Maybe if you're on one of those, just look and think, when was the last time I was in the mood? When was the last time I desired this? When was the last time I enjoyed this? Because even if you push through the whole I don't really want to thing because you know your spouse wants to and needs to, and maybe even you do want to, you don't enjoy it. Things don't seem to work as good as they should. It's not as enjoyable as it should be. It could be because of that medicine. So just be aware of that. If your sexual desire is just low, the best way to increase that desire is to have more sex. And I know that seems counterproductive and that you're thinking, I'm not even in the mood. How am I going to have more? Just do it. Once you start doing that, you will enjoy it. The more, it's like sugar. The more sugar you eat, the more you want. You know, that one Hershey Kiss wasn't enough. Now I want a brownie or whatever. Sex is the same thing. It releases those same endorphins that chocolate releases. So it's hard, but it's simple. You just have to start. You just have to set a goal. Like we've talked about before, maybe 2 nights this week. I'm going to say yes, and we are going to be intimate. And then just enjoy it. You have to relax. If you're not relaxed and you're tense and you're stressed, like we talked about before, you know, especially us women, when you're worried about the dishes and the homework and did I get school outfits out for tomorrow and did I remember to buy yogurt, you know, whatever it is. If that is where our mind is and our focus is at night, we're not going to be relaxed. We're not going to enjoy this. Sex does not have to be boring, and I would even say it shouldn't be boring. Sex is a gift that God has given us to enjoy. He did not give us this just as a means to have more children. He did not give us this just to have something else on our to-do list that we need to check off, okay? There's a reason it's designed to be only within marriage. It is special. It is to be enjoyed. It's easy to get stuck in the boring sex cycle. So I believe there's a couple reasons for this. First of all, if you were raised in a Christian home, it might not have been talked about. At least not much, probably not in detail. My husband and I feel like within the church, it's, yes, there is sex and it is physical and it is good and you're going to want to. Your hormones were created that way. It's all great. Don't do it till you get married, and then now you're married. Have fun, figure it out. There has to be some middle ground somewhere of what? It's easy to say, don't have sex until you're married, but there's a whole array of things between purity and intercourse that could be happening before you're married, but all we say is don't have sex. And then these other things are happening, and now people are taking that way into their marriage, their relationship, or they're breaking up, ending the relationship, the engagement, divorce, whatever, because they didn't wait for these other things. So there's a whole space between purity and intercourse. I don't know why I felt like that should go there, but I don't know. I'm just gonna trust the Lord to do something with it, I guess. So it's not talked about much. Sorry, guys, hang on. Okay. But if you did not grow up in a Christian home, then you were probably exposed to sexual content as a child, whether it was through worldly music. You know, we know rap music, it's drugs and gangsters and girls and sex and all the worldly things that look, you know, fun. Maybe it was friends at school. It was just conversations. It was a dirty joke in passing. It was rated R movies and your parents didn't think much of the scene. Either scenario, it's one extreme of the other. Neither one of these give us a good, full, healthy, godly view of sex inside of marriage. Even to most Christians, it feels dirty to talk about at all, in public or in private. So when it feels dirty, when it's awkward, now we're not having those conversations with our kids. And now we have a whole nother generation who doesn't want to come to their parents. They are Googling these answers. Heaven forbid your children are going online to find answers to this stuff, okay? So we have to learn to talk about it in a way that honors the Lord, that is still clean, it's not vile, but sex in itself is not like that. So if there's a reason that you don't want to be intimate with your spouse, you need to learn to communicate that. You need to say, you know, I don't know, I want to, but my body just doesn't. Maybe it's your hormones are off. Maybe it's that medicine. You go look through the medicine cabinet and we're on Lexapro or whatever, and now it's like, maybe this makes sense. Satan wants to pervert sex, and he has, we know that, but he also wants your marriage to be a sexless marriage. That is one of the top reasons for adultery. Don't let him have that open door. Be open with your spouse, communicate with your spouse. If you're not in the mood, rather than rolling over and just saying, I got a headache, okay, don't lie about it. Have this conversation. Be open to trying something new with your spouse. And some of this is going to be controversial, and that's fine. Just hang on, we'll get there. Sex should be 3 things. It should be fun, it should be safe, it should be consensual. Even within marriage, there is consensual sex. So keep those things at the beginning. Don't try something new because you feel pressured, but don't say no just because you are nervous. You're not sure about it. What if I don't like it? What if it's not good? What if I'm not good at doing this? Your spouse is the one person you have safe grounds with. This is your safe zone. This is meant to be fun. If you try something and you don't like it, say that. Say, oh, it was uncomfortable. It just wasn't enjoyable. Maybe we'll revisit it later. And that's okay. Something that you don't like now, you might like in 6-12 months from now. And you're like, okay, I don't know what happened, but this works better now. Whatever it is. And that's okay. Now, controversial part. It's okay to hold to your standards and convictions here. Please don't change anything. Don't take anything I say the wrong way. Discuss things with your partner. But if we are not to engage in pornography, and we're not to have sex with anyone outside of our marriage, and we're not, how do we get new ideas? If no one's talking about it, we're just kind of out here floating along going, man, I don't know what else to do, but my husband, my wife isn't happy, and now we're just kind of stuck, and sex is boring, and who cares? It's not how it's supposed to be. So there are other things that you can have, try, enjoy that are not dirty. It does not defile the marriage bed. It is not sinful. And it can increase your sex life, your sex drive, the enjoyment. One of these things is lingerie. You can buy cute, sexy underwear at Walmart's, okay? I'm not saying to go to an adult store and see things you shouldn't see. I'm not saying to do that at all. But there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Walmart, Walgreens, all these places have aisles that are family planning, okay? Most of the time, this is filled with diapers and formula and tampons, and the men are like, next aisle. Okay, nobody wants to walk down that. But there's this really nice section of things of lubricants. That is a physical need. This is not anything that is dirty, sinful, shameful. But if sex is uncomfortable, that's a problem. And now we don't enjoy it, and we don't want to do it. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable or in pain, okay? Don't make your partner be in pain because you don't want to buy a $9.99 bottle of lubricant. That is insanity, okay? Go buy it and use it and move on with life, okay? I'm not going to get into details of things, but there are other intimacy products that you can use. You can buy and enjoy, and you can buy them privately, like on Amazon, and nobody has to know, and you're not walking into a store where there's filth, okay? Just have this conversation with your spouse. Be open to new things. That's all I'm gonna say. It's okay, okay? That's the biggest thing I wanna stress, is this is okay. So, don't be afraid to tell your spouse when you are or are not in the mood. Let them know that you are desiring this with them, that you want to enjoy this. You want to be one like this. It is okay to do something to make your spouse, I don't care, please stop asking me questions. Outside. This is real life, okay? None of these videos are edited or changed or enhanced in any way. This is real life, so bear with me a second. Be nice to your brother, don't throw rocks. Okay. Now, if your spouse just says, you know, you haven't worn, if your husband comes to the wife and says, you haven't worn makeup in a couple days, is there a reason? You feeling okay? Or you haven't done anything with your hair in a few days. You never get dressed up anymore. Don't take this as an insult. They're being open, honest, communicating, sharing their desires with you. Too often, we are afraid to do this in our marriage. And we shouldn't be, because we're afraid to open up because we don't want it to be received the wrong way. Just say, you know, whatever it is, that, oh, I didn't think you cared about that, or I just didn't want to, or I've been tired, or whatever it is, and try to make a conscious effort to change it. You don't have to wear makeup every day, but Friday when your husband comes home and you've got your makeup done and your hair done and you're in something cute and he's like, hey, that's going to turn that mood on for him. Most men like it when we are put together to some degree. Everyone's different, and that's fine. But when you haven't brushed your hair and you're in yesterday's pajamas still, and you haven't taken a shower because you're taking care of the kids, we know that that happens, but that does not create that environment of intimacy that we talked about earlier. Husband, same goes for you. When you get home and you're in the mood and you want to come give your wife that hug and kiss, and she's like, can you go take a shower? We're not trying to be rude, but your deodorant is no match for a hot July day when you've been outside all day. It's just not. We're not trying to be mean or say anything, you know, negative, but you got to work with us here, okay? So don't take this insultingly when your spouse comes to you and says, could you do this? Or you haven't done this, you know, whatever it is, or I really like it when you do this. Just try to take that under advisement and do it. Increase the frequency, whatever it is that they're asking for. I like to challenge wives to find something they can do every day. This is hard. Something you can do every day or night for your husband. It can be sexual or not. It can be something that may or may not lead to intimacy if you want it to, but something as simple as a back massage. You know, when you're getting, I need you to go outside. No? Go outside. It can be just a back massage. You know, we're laying there relaxing. We've had showers, TV's on. We're going to watch TV for a few minutes before we try to go to bed. And it's a back massage. It's a foot rub. It's something more sexual than that. It's up to you. Whatever you two want to do. And of course, the husband can find something like this too. But for me, I'm not going to tell you what my thing is, but for me, having that thing that I do every night has helped with a lot of things. If we've had an argument during the day, if I'm not feeling good, if I've just had a bad day and I'm tired, but when I make that effort and I take that time to show my husband that attention, like I said, may or may not lead to sex, not a big deal either way, he feels loved. He appreciates that. He sees that effort that I'm making, of even though we may have had an argument, I'm leaving that argument outside the bedroom door. And it's easier. We could have had an argument 20 minutes ago, and we're going to have intimacy tonight because we've left that outside. Because it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. Our marriage is what is important. We're on the same team. We either win together or we lose together. It's not me against you. Okay, the Bible is very clear that we war not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. So your husband, your wife, your spouse is not the enemy, okay? But finding that thing that you can do, it's going to help your attitude. It's going to build intimacy. It's going to make sure that you are just connecting, even for just a few minutes every night. And you'll learn to appreciate that about your spouse. And whatever it is that you do, maybe it's that back rub. And maybe, something's happened and I can't do it tonight. Find something else to do. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing every night. Mine is, and even through COVID and migraines and sickness, I've been able to keep that habit up for a really long time. And it's helped. It's helped me to not hold on to that anger or the bad day I had or anything. And most of the time, my husband has something that he does back. My thing that I like is a neck rub, shoulder rub, and it might just be 10 minutes, but he makes that effort to do that. Might not be every night, but most of the time he does. And that's just one of those things. Helps you relax, helps me feel loved, and we just connect. We might talk about your day or what are our plans tomorrow. It doesn't have to be anything super deep, but it's just taking that time to connect. Remember that intimacy is more than sexual intercourse. So your intimacy starts way before you get in bed. And it's something that has to be built up, nurtured, encouraged every day. Your intimacy is way more than physical touch. So remember, open communication, honest communication. Physical sex should be safe, fun, and consensual. So don't be afraid to try new things. Sex is not dirty. Don't let Satan pervert it between you and your spouse. This is something that God created. So I hope this has been a help and an encouragement to you. And until next time, stay in the Word, stay close to the shepherd, and let him lead you in paths of righteousness.